Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about upcoming book releases that are on my radar. I know this is kind of a popular booktube concept for people to talk about upcoming books they're really excited to read. I've never made one of these videos before because in the past there weren't a lot of authors where I followed their careers really closely and just had to read everything by them. But while I was trying to think of a video idea, I realized there are quite a few books on my TBR that have not been released yet and that I'm really hyped to read, so I wanted to discuss those with you today. The first upcoming release on my TBR is Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. Jennifer Hillier is a mystery thriller author, and I've read 3 books of hers, all of which I believe I gave at least 4 stars, so I've enjoyed everything that I've read by her. I definitely want to check out this book as well at some point in the future. Here's the plot summary from Goodreads. It sounds super good. When Paris Peralta is arrested in her own bathroom, covered in blood, holding a straight razor, her celebrity husband dead in the bathtub behind her, she knows she'll be charged with murder. But as bad as this looks, it's not what worries her the most. With the unwanted media attention now surrounding her, it's only a matter of time before someone from her long-hidden past recognizes her and destroys the new life she's worked so hard to build, along with any chance of a future. 25 years earlier, Ruby Reyes, known as the Ice Queen, was convicted of a similar murder in a trial that riveted Canada in the early 90s. Reyes knows who Paris really is, and when she's unexpectedly released from prison, she threatens to expose all of Paris's secrets. Left with no other choice, Paris must finally confront the dark past she escaped once and for all. Because the only thing worse than a murder charge are 2 murder charges. So, super excited to read that one. Like I said, I've given every book of hers that I've read at least 4 stars, I believe. I don't think I've had a full-on 5-star from her yet, but every book I've read by her has been decent, so I'm excited for this one as well. Okay, now I also have 2 upcoming releases that are tentatively on my TBR from authors that I haven't had as positive an experience with in the past, but the concepts of these books sound really intriguing, so I'm cautiously putting them on my TBR. So first, The Last Party by Claire McIntosh. This is coming out on August 4th. I have read 3 books by Claire McIntosh. I gave 2 of them 3 stars and 1 4 stars. So she hasn't really let me down, but I read 2 books by her that were just okay. This one, though, I think sounds promising, so I'm cautiously optimistic. So this book follows this man named Reese Lloyd, who I think is very wealthy. He's throwing a New Year's Eve party at his vacation home on Mirror Lake. However, by midnight, Reese will be found floating dead in the lake, and soon it becomes a question not of who did have a motive to kill him, but who in this village didn't have a motive to kill him. That premise sounds really intriguing to me, so I would like to give this a try. Claire McIntosh has been a so-so author for me in the past, so I'll have to see if I vibe with this one. Another upcoming release on my TBR is Stay Awake by Megan Golden. This is supposed to be published on August 9th. Here's a hot take. I have not really enjoyed either of Megan Golden's books. I read The Escape Room and also The Night Swim, and I know literally everyone loved The Night Swim except for me. I thought it was a letdown. However, the concept of this book sounds amazing, so I kind of want to read it anyway, even though this author and I have not been a perfect match in the past. I just think the concept of this book sounds so interesting. Liv Reese wakes up in the back of a taxi with no idea where she is or how she got there. When she's dropped off at the door of her brownstone, a stranger answers. A stranger who now lives in her apartment and forces her out in the cold. She reaches for her phone to call for help, only to discover it's missing, and in its place is a blood-stained knife. That's when she sees that her hands are covered in black pen, scribbled messages like graffiti on her skin. Stay awake. 2 years ago, Liv was living with her best friend, dating a new man, and thriving as a successful writer for a trendy magazine. Now, she's lost and disoriented in a New York City that looks nothing like what she remembers. Catching a glimpse of the local news, she's horrified to see reports of a crime scene where the victim's blood has been used to scrawl a message across a window, the same message that's inked on her hands. What did she do last night? And why does she remember nothing from the past 2 years? Liv finds herself on the run for a crime she doesn't remember committing as she tries to piece together the fragments of her life. But there's someone who does know exactly what she did, and they'll do anything to make her forget. Permanently. In the vein of S.J. Watson's Before I Go to Sleep and Christopher Nolan's cult classic Memento, Megan Goldin's Stay Awake is an electrifying novel that plays with memory and murder. Doesn't that sound so good? Just when I read that plot description, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to read this now. I don't know, it might be a disappointment again, but that sounds like it could be a really good book. I kind of want to read it. Maybe I'll wait to see the reviews roll in and then decide. Oh, it sounds really good though. Could we really have this video and not discuss Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid? This book is coming out on August 30th and I've already put it on hold from my library. I'm number 2, so after this comes out, I'm going to read it very, very soon. I am so excited. I could have pre-ordered this book, like I pre-ordered Malibu Rising. However, if I'm being completely honest, I hate the cover of this book. I think it's really ugly. I'm sorry. I'm sure the book's still gonna be good because Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote it. I've read 3 TJR books. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. 5 stars, one of my all-time favorites. Daisy Jones and the Six, I can't remember if that was a 4.5 star or a 5 star, but I loved that one too. And then Malibu Rising was my least favorite, but it was still a 4.5 star, so if your least favorite book by an author is still a 4.5 star, what is there to complain about? So this book is about Carrie Soto, obviously, and she's back, obviously. She is a tennis star who appears briefly in Malibu Rising, and she is attempting to make her big comeback and revitalize her career. It says on Goodreads that this is, quote, her most vulnerable emotional story yet. Taylor Jenkins Reid, most vulnerable emotional story yet, that means. And I'm ready. I am ready for TJR to wreck my life. I'm ready to cry and make this book my, like, newest obsession, obviously. Like, everything that Taylor Jenkins Reid writes in this interconnected universe she's created, I will read, okay? I am obsessed with her writing, obsessed with her books. I can't wait for this to come out. Also coming out on August 30th is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I really enjoy Alice Feeney's books, and the plot of this one sounds right up my alley. It is a closed circle mystery that's described as a tribute to And Then There Were None, my favorite mystery. Sign me up, honestly. Do you have to say anything more than that? Like, I want to read this book so bad. Here's the plot description. This sounds like something that I could really love. After years of avoiding each other, Daisy Darker's entire family is assembling for Nana's 80th birthday party in Nana's crumbling Gothic house on a tiny tidal island. Finally back together one last time, when the tide comes in, they will be cut off from the rest of the world for 8 hours. The family arrives, each of them harboring secrets. Then, at the stroke of midnight, as a storm rages, Nana is found dead. And an hour later, the next family member follows. Trapped on an island where someone is killing them one by one, the Darkers must reckon with their present mystery as well as their past secrets before the tide comes in and all is revealed. With a wicked wink to Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, Daisy Darker's unforgettable twists will leave readers reeling. Oh, I love that description, a wicked wink to And Then There Were None. Oh, the person who wrote this plot description did a really great job. I am intrigued. I am so excited to read Daisy Darker. I still have to read Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney as well. I really want to read that book and I've heard good things about it. Though, given the setting of the book, I feel like it would be better to read in a colder season. I just don't know if, a book with a snow-covered cover is one that I really want to be reading in the heat of July, so I'm waiting a little bit to pick up that one. But I really do enjoy this author, so I have high hopes for Daisy Darker. Lastly, if I am being completely honest, this book is what inspired me to make this video, because when I found out about it, I just needed to talk to somebody about how excited I am for this book immediately. So the other day I was scrolling through Bookstagram and I saw someone who had an arc of this book called The Marriage Portrait by Maggie OMalley, aka the author of Hamnet, a book that I loved. And I didn't know she was coming out with another fiction book this year, so immediately I was excited. Then I looked up what this book was about, and I was even more excited because it just sounds so good, and I think it fits my personal tastes really, really well. So, The Marriage Portrait is about Lucrezia de Medici. And you know I love the Medicis, okay? Lucrezia de Medici was the daughter of Cosimo I, Grand Duke of Tuscany, and she became, through her marriage, the Duchess of Ferrara. Now, if any of you have ever read the poem My Last Duchess by Robert Browning, that poem is inspired by the death of Lucrezia de Medici, because she ended up dying at the age of 16. And though it's possible that her death, we now believe, was actually from tuberculosis, at the time, there were many people who believed that her husband had murdered her. And so that's the premise of My Last Duchess. It's a dramatic monologue from the perspective of the Duke, recounting basically how he ordered his wife's murder. It's a really good dramatic monologue if you want to read it. So when I read the premise of this book, my excitement was through the roof. I mean, a book by Maggie OMalley about this tragic Medici Duchess who inspired this poem and may or may not have been killed. Sign me up. I would read this book tomorrow if I could. I will also really be interested to see what direction Maggie OMalley takes the story, if she will try to tell a more historically accurate account of what likely happened, if she's going to tell a story about a teenage bride trapped in an abusive marriage. Is she going to depict the Duke sympathetically? Is she going to have him murder Lucrezia? I really don't know, but I am so excited to have this book in my hands and read it. This book comes out on September 6th. I don't know if I mentioned that. And I am so hype. I think out of all the books that I mentioned in this list, this might be the one that I am most excited for. I am also extremely excited for Carrie Soto is back, don't get me wrong. But the premise of this book just sounds like something I would love. My hopes are up. I'm not gonna lie. So everyone, those are some upcoming books that are currently on my radar. Let me know, are you interested in reading any of these books as well? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a charming rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.